Welcome back. Children, they're really annoying little adults who then grow up to be actual annoying adults. And I feel sorry for parents, I really do. Especially in these COVID times, you're constantly reminded of what a terrible person you are, reflected in another little person that you created. It's a lot to be stuck with in a house all day. So it makes sense that as soon as the virtual school term ended, you'd want to get rid of them for a little bit, right? But clearly every parent of a teenager had the exact same idea and the exact same dumping ground, Movietowne.
A concerned statement from epidemiologist Dr. Avery Hines, just days after a large crowd of mostly teenagers was seen outside the Movietowne Port of Spain Cineplex. Police Commissioner Gary Griffith has sent to ask parents of children to be more responsible, saying many minors were at the venue without adult supervision. Dr. Hines says he has seen the videos of the crowds on social media and warns that this could push the positivity rate even higher.
Yes, of course that we can trust that hormonal teenagers who haven't seen each other in months can, do the bare minimum of physical distancing and keeping their masks on. No, not them. We're getting to them. So Derek Chin, owner of Movietowne, said, "Look, I am not your babysitter. That's on you, parents."
But according to Derek Chin, his business place is also an avenue being utilized by parents.
Movietowne is the babysitter for many parents. They come, they drop the kids off, and we have to make sure that they're safe and the protocols are in place, and that's our responsibility once you come inside the cinema.
So, do you have concerns there?
What do you want us to do? We can't control if people crowds come. Every mall is the same thing. They're open. There may not be as many youthful people at, let's say, at the mall, but they have the same crowd.
And there's nothing that could have told him that there'd be all those people in Movietowne, except, well, every other year around this time when there are all those people in Movietowne.
What we have going on, there are some things that we can't control, and it's one of these phenomena that we've endured about twice a year. We see it happening. We have it about twice or three times a year where, not predictable, but it appears that, at the end of any school term, the start of the Easter holidays, the fact that we had a lot of Movietowne is a place where a lot of people like to come and meet and lime.
Meanwhile, those teenagers, their little brothers and sisters are sitting at home hoping and praying that they too can go to school and take off their masks and play games. Not yet. But yes, those about to write SEA are looking on because soon it will be their turn to go to school, but only if the big kids don't mess it up. And by the big kids, I mean the adults.
Because it only takes the drop in the guard of a few people and the irresponsible conduct of a few people, maybe one or two parties, maybe one or two lines, to put us on a slope to go backwards.
Ah boy, the nation's parent coming in with the buff. And please keep in mind, the Prime Minister has grandchildren in his house. So he knows he's probably tired of them too, even in a house as big as the Prime Minister's residence.
If you are around children, you will know what I'm talking about. If you are not, you will think it's just old talk. But the idea of bringing these children out to school after a year of not being able to go to school is a mental and psychological lift for this country that you cannot put a dollar figure on.
But you know what you can put a dollar figure on? How much you save by not having children. No, but that's just me. Parents and teachers are the real heroes in this time. I will fully admit that.
And I'm appealing to the rest of the population. In your attempt to enjoy the post-pandemic prematurely, or just to be generally irresponsible and even destructive, think about what you are risking when you believe that you have to go bar hopping or you have to hug your friends who you have a drink with in a restaurant that is not supposed to be serving alcohol.
But one good thing about the doc, like a good parent, he knows when the children are misbehaving, the children being the nation. and giving them just enough rope to hang themselves. And just a note, already the Ministry of Education has had to push back its meeting, which would have discussed the possibility of school reopening, because now they're not sure what's happening. So now they want to wait another week to see how well you behave, nation, before making any decisions. And to go back to the Prime Minister's earlier statement, maybe you can't put a dollar figure on that peace of mind that you get of getting rid of your children, but you absolutely can put a dollar figure on how much the government can pay you in the event of another national shutdown. Zero.
If we find ourselves in a situation where the action that is required to confront an outbreak are the actions that we had to do in early 2020, the consequences will be personally for you. There would be no resources to provide a government bailout. And that is where we are in Trinidad and Tobago today. You have been warned.
Man, I felt that buff in my chest. It was like flashbacks of my mother telling me to be forewarned is to be forearmed. But now that we're talking about buff, we can finally get to this.
2, 1, go! We do it best out of 3. Best out of 3.
And first of all, you know what the media is not talking about? The fact that Alexander Rail cheat. Like, if you look at it, he's using his body weight and anyhow. But look at something. These are some of the most visible men in the nation. And they're there running around in circles in a small room with no mask, making themselves dizzy, literally. And as I'm watching this live, I'm thinking to myself, this is dumb. And this is why Stuart Young is the golden child.
Even the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, was asked for his take on what has become public discussion.
My comment on that is that that is disappointing because, as I said earlier on today, I expect every person in a leadership position in this country to demonstrate that leadership wherever you are, whenever you're out.
But Faris is a good boy. He didn't do nothing. He just got caught up in the moment. So, I mean, to the AG, we'll say, we're not mad. We're just disappointed. So, what do you have to say for yourself?
However, AG Al-Rawi says, quote, even though participants took temperatures and sanitized, upon reflection, it would certainly have been more prudent to wear masks in certain of the settings so as to encourage the audience that tuned in to keep the fight against COVID alive whilst they had a proper laugh at people.
So, yes, we're definitely having a proper laugh right now. What were you thinking? Ugh, right, you weren't, because you want to go and play with your little friend and them. Friend does carrier, you know.
On our question as to whether the public deserves an apology, the AG writes, quote, even though no law was broken, I should have done better and unreservedly apologize.
So hopefully he's learned his lesson and will follow his own advice from back in the day.
Avoid the smart manism and smart womanism. Just wear your mask.
And that goes for all of you kids out there too. Let's take a break.